The power of silence in relationships. When you go silent and disappear, it doesn't just end there. It triggers something deep inside her, and suddenly you're all she can think about. But why does your absence have this kind of power? How can you use it to shift the dynamic in your favor? Stick around, because what you're about to learn will change the way you approach the concept of no contact forever. Section 1. The power of your silence. Silence is a language, and it speaks louder than any words ever could. When you stop texting, stop calling, and stop showing up, you're sending a message that's impossible for her to ignore. Think about it. When you've always been the guy who's available, always there for her at a moment's notice, your sudden silence acts like an unexpected alarm in her world. It forces her to wake up to a new reality. But what makes silence so powerful? It's not just the absence of sound, it's the void it creates. Humans are wired to notice changes in patterns. When you break the pattern of communication, her mind goes into overdrive, trying to figure out why she's no longer in control of the narrative. This loss of control amplifies her focus on you. This isn't just psychological, it's deeply emotional. Silence disrupts her sense of security, making her question everything. Did I misjudge him? Is he losing interest? Has he moved on? These unanswered questions linger, growing louder with every passing day. The beauty of silence lies in its simplicity. By doing nothing, you're creating a storm of thoughts and emotions that keep her hooked. Section 2. The fear of losing control. Control is comforting. When she knows you'll respond, when you're just a call or text away, she feels secure. But when you disappear, that comfort shatters. Suddenly, she's no longer the one dictating the pace or direction of your interactions. This loss of control can be disorienting, even for someone who seemed confident. Here's the thing about control. It's addictive. Once someone has it, they don't want to let it go. Your silence takes that sense of control away from her, and in its place, it leaves uncertainty. Uncertainty is one of the most uncomfortable feelings for the human brain. It creates a need to fill in the blanks, to regain clarity, and to restore balance. In doing so, she starts to focus on you more than ever before. But this isn't just about control, it's about self-reflection. When you stop chasing her, she's forced to confront the reality of her own actions and feelings. Was she taking you for granted? Did she misinterpret your intentions? Your silence becomes a mirror, reflecting her insecurities and vulnerabilities back at her. This introspection often leads her to realize just how much she values your presence. Section 3. She replays every interaction. When you disappear, her mind doesn't just move on, it rewinds. Every conversation, every smile, every little detail of your interactions starts playing on a loop in her head. It's like she's trying to solve a puzzle, and each memory becomes a piece of that puzzle. What's fascinating is how the brain processes memories in your absence. When someone is gone, we tend to view the past through rose-colored glasses. The little annoyances or disagreements fade into the background, and the highlights of your time together take center stage. This isn't just nostalgia, it's a psychological phenomenon known as selective memory. She's filtering out the negatives and focusing on the positives, which only deepens her emotional connection to you. The more she replays these interactions, the more she starts to question herself. Did I say something wrong? Did I miss a sign? Was there something I could have done differently? These questions keep her engaged, even when you're nowhere to be found. Your silence turns her into her own worst critic, and in the process, it makes her miss you even more. Section 4. Curiosity turns into obsession. Curiosity is a powerful emotion, but when left unanswered, it doesn't just fade, it grows. When you disappear without a trace, you become a mystery. She feels compelled to solve it. Her mind races with questions. Why did he stop talking to me? What's he doing now? Is he seeing someone else? This curiosity isn't just surface level. It taps into her fear of the unknown, her desire for closure, and her need for validation. Every time she checks her phone, every time she sees a post on social media, she's hoping for a clue about what you're up to. The more she searches, the more invested she becomes. But here's the real power of your silence. It doesn't just create curiosity, it creates an emotional journey. She's not just wondering about you, she's feeling the absence of you. Conclusion: the strength of silence. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's a powerful force that can shape relationships. By giving her space to reflect and question, you've opened the door to deeper emotional connections. Your absence becomes an emotional journey that draws her back to you, even when you're not physically present. Use this power wisely, and you'll be able to create a dynamic that is truly in your favor. Section 5. She questions her own value. When you disappear, it's not just your absence she feels, it's the absence of the validation you once provided. For many people, attention is a form of affirmation, a way of saying, you're important, you matter. When you take that attention away, it forces her to confront her own insecurities. She starts asking herself questions that cut deep. Was I not good enough for him? Did I do something to push him away? Why isn't he chasing me like other people do? These questions aren't just idle thoughts, they're reflections of her self-esteem. The more she dwells on them, the more she begins to realize just how much she valued your attention. But here's the twist: this isn't just about her feeling insecure. It's about her re-evaluating her feelings for you. By removing yourself from the equation, you forced her to see you in a new light. You're no longer the guy who's always available. You're the guy who knows his worth. That shift in perception makes her want you even more. Section 6. The pain of unanswered questions. Unanswered questions are like open wounds. They don't heal, and they only sting more as time goes on. When you disappear, you leave her in a mental labyrinth, trying to piece together a puzzle without all the pieces. It's not just confusion, it's a state of emotional chaos. She starts replaying every conversation, every text message, and every moment you shared. She's not just looking for answers, she's analyzing, overthinking, and obsessing. Did I say something wrong? Was I not good enough? What changed? These questions don't just surface occasionally, they consume her. They follow her in the quiet moments, during her commute, before she sleeps, and even in her dreams. The human brain craves resolution, and when it doesn't get it, it creates scenarios to fill in the blanks. Maybe you found someone better. Maybe you realized she wasn't the one. Maybe you're hurt, and she's to blame. Each possibility is like an itch she can't scratch, driving her deeper into a spiral of self-doubt and regret. What's most impactful is that every unanswered question keeps her tethered to you. Your silence isn't just an absence, it's a presence that overshadows her thoughts, her decisions, and even her sense of self. And the irony? The less you say, the louder your absence becomes. Section 7. Her ego takes a hit. The ego is a fragile yet powerful thing. It's the part of us that craves validation, attention, and recognition. When you disappear, her ego takes a direct hit, and that blow echoes louder than any argument or disagreement you could have had. Here's the thing: many people are used to being pursued. They've experienced the constant texts, the late-night calls, and the attention of others vying for their focus. But when you don't play that game, when you choose silence over chasing, it sends a message louder than words. You don't need her approval to feel whole. This realization doesn't sit well with her ego. It's used to being fed, to being catered to. When you stop feeding it, it starts to crumble. She begins questioning herself. Why isn't he chasing me? Am I not good enough for him to fight for? Did I lose my touch? These questions aren't fleeting, they linger, gnawing at her self-perception. The ego is tricky because it doesn't just want attention, it demands it. And when it doesn't get it, it reacts. She might try to provoke you, post things to get your attention, or even reach out just to see if you'll respond. But deep down, it's not about you. It's about her trying to reclaim the validation your silence took away. And the more you stay silent, the more her ego feels the void. Section 8. She starts comparing you to others. Comparison is inevitable, especially when someone leaves a strong impression. When you disappear, she starts to notice the stark contrast between you and the other people in her life. And let me tell you, this comparison rarely works in their favor. Other men might be sending her constant messages, liking all her posts, or doing whatever it takes to stay in her orbit. But you've chosen to walk away. You've chosen to remain silent. And that choice sets you apart. It shows confidence, restraint, and a level of self-respect that's rare. As she interacts with others, she begins to see the differences more clearly. The guy who's always available feels predictable. The one who tries too hard comes across as desperate. And then there's you, the one who left without explanation, the one who didn't need to beg for attention. That mystery, that strength, becomes magnetic, but it doesn't stop there. She starts questioning her own choices. Did I let go of someone truly valuable? Did I make a mistake in underestimating him? Section 9. The longing for closure. Closure is one of the most underrated yet powerful desires in human relationships. When something ends, people crave a sense of finality, a way to understand what happened and why. But when you disappear, you deny her that closure, and that denial creates an emotional vacuum. She's left trying to piece together a story that only you can complete. Every memory becomes a clue. Every word you said becomes significant, and every action is analyzed under a microscope. She's not just thinking about you, she's obsessing over the why. Why did you leave? Why didn't you fight for this? Why didn't you say goodbye? But here's the twist. The lack of closure doesn't push her away. It pulls her closer. The human brain hates unanswered questions, and the more she tries to find answers, the more she fixates on you. Your silence becomes the unresolved chapter in her story. Until she finds a way to close it, she can't move forward. What makes this even more impactful is that closure isn't something she can force. It has to come from you. Your decision to withhold it shows her something powerful. You're in control. You're not playing by her rules, and that realization shifts the dynamic entirely. Section 10. The shift in her perspective. Time changes everything, including how she sees you. At first, your silence might feel like rejection, but over time it transforms into something deeper, a sign of strength, confidence, and self-respect. She starts to realize that you're not like the others. You're not chasing, begging, or trying to win her back. You've chosen yourself, your peace, and your worth over anything else. And that choice doesn't just set you apart, it elevates you in her eyes. This shift in perspective is powerful because it forces her to confront her own feelings. She begins to see you as more than just someone she knew. You become the one who got away, the one she underestimated, the one she regrets losing. But it's not just about how she sees you, it's about how she sees herself. Your silence makes her reflect on her own actions, her own choices, and her own mistakes. It forces her to take accountability in a way she never expected. And that reflection, that realization, is what makes her miss you more than anything else. Your silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a statement. It says, I know my worth, and I won't settle for less. And that statement, it's unforgettable. Silence speaks louder than words, and now you know how to use it to your advantage. Conclusion. If you found this video valuable, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more powerful insights. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. How has silence worked for you? Let's keep the conversation going. I'll see you in the next video.